3 cars. All of them beautiful. All of them prestigious. All of them sitting on Facebook Marketplace and AutoTrader right now at prices that make your wallet feel optimistic and your mechanic feel genuinely excited about his boat payment. These are cars that the internet tells you to buy and that the repair shop tells you to avoid. But here is the thing that nobody is saying clearly enough. The problem is never the car. The problem is the engine. Every single one of these 3 cars was sold with multiple engine options. And in every single case there is one engine, just one, that changes the entire ownership equation. One engine that transforms a financial disaster into a legitimate bargain. One engine that the previous owner either had or didn't have, and that difference is worth more than any other variable in the transaction. I'm going to tell you the car, tell you the engines to run from, and tell you exactly which engine makes the whole thing worth doing. And I need you to stay for number 3 because number 3 is the car that has destroyed more enthusiast budgets in America than any other European import in the last 20 years, and the engine that saves it costs the same as the engine that destroys it and nobody is talking about why. Subscribe before we start. 15 minutes from now you are going to know something that most used car buyers spend thousands of dollars learning the hard way. Let's go. Alfa Romeo Giulia. Let's start with the car that automotive journalists lost their minds over when it launched and that used car buyers lose their savings over when they buy the wrong version. The Alfa Romeo Giulia. 2017 through present. And before we go anywhere, I need to acknowledge something directly. The Giulia is genuinely, objectively, measurably one of the most rewarding cars to drive in its segment at any price. The chassis balance is rear-wheel drive perfection. The steering communicates in a way that front-wheel drive German competitors physically cannot replicate regardless of engineering investment. The proportions are correct in a way that Italian designers achieve without apparent effort and that German designers spend decades trying to approximate. This is a beautiful, talented, genuinely exciting automobile. It is also a car that has produced ownership experiences ranging from deeply satisfying to genuinely traumatic depending entirely on which engine is under the hood when you buy it. The engines to avoid are the 2.0 turbo 4-cylinder in early production, specifically 2017 and 2018 examples, and the 2.9 V6 quadrifoglio in anything other than a very specific maintenance scenario. The early 2.0 had quality control issues that Alfa Romeo addressed progressively through the production run but that early buyers encountered as electrical gremlins, timing system irregularities, and a general sense that the car was assembled by people working slightly faster than the quality assurance process could comfortably supervise. The Quadrifoglio's Ferrari-derived twin-turbocharged V6 is a magnificent engine in engineering terms and a complicated proposition in ownership terms. It makes 505 horsepower and it costs accordingly when something needs attention, which in a used example with unknown service history happens with a frequency that the original sticker price of $80,000 suggested someone else would be paying for. The engine that changes everything is the 2.0 turbo 4-cylinder from 2019 onward. Alfa Romeo addressed the early production issues methodically through the 2018 model year and the 2019 update produced a version of this engine that independent reliability surveys and long-term owner reports describe in categorically different language from the early examples. The revised timing system, the updated software calibration, and the improved manufacturing consistency produced an engine that delivers the 280 horsepower the specification sheet promises with a mechanical temperament that reflects genuine resolution of the earlier problems rather than cosmetic revision. Mechanics who work on post-2019 Giulias describe the drivetrain with cautious optimism. Language they absolutely do not apply to the early cars. The ZF 8-speed automatic paired with this engine is the same gearbox trusted by BMW, Rolls-Royce, and Bentley. It shifts with a precision that makes the driving experience cohesive and it has a reliability record across those applications that is essentially unimpeachable when the fluid is serviced correctly. What to check when you go to buy a 2019 or later Giulia with the 2.0? Service history first and always. The engine responds proportionally to oil change discipline and does not forgive extended intervals with the same patience that simpler engines display. The DNA drive mode selector, which toggles between dynamic, natural, and advanced efficiency modes, has electrical contacts that can develop intermittent behavior on higher mileage examples and produce warning lights that sound alarming and cost less than $100 to address when you know what they are. The brake system on the Giulia uses Brembo components that perform exceptionally and wear at rates that reflect that performance. Budget for brake service as a normal recurring expense rather than an unexpected one. And the infotainment system benefits from a software update at purchase that addresses connectivity and responsiveness issues that the factory calibration left unresolved on a meaningful percentage of production examples. Here is the bottom line on the Giulia. A 2017 or 2018 example with the early 2.0 is a car that requires patience, a specialist relationship, and a contingency budget that changes the value proposition meaningfully. A 2019 or later example with the revised 2.0 is a car that delivers the driving experience journalists described at launch: the chassis, the steering, the rear-wheel drive balance, with an engine that mechanics describe as livable rather than anxious. The difference in asking price between these two groups of cars on the current market is often less than $1,000. The difference in ownership experience is measured in thousands of dollars of repair bills and the specific kind of stress that comes from owning a car you are not sure you can trust. Buy the right engine. Everything else about the Giulia rewards you for doing so. Jaguar XF. Britain sends the car with the longest gap between its deserved reputation and its actual reputation of anything on this list. The Jaguar XF, first generation 2008 through 2015, is a car that was genuinely excellent when it launched, genuinely, measurably, comparably excellent against the BMW 5 Series and Mercedes E-Class it was designed to compete with, and that has been systematically undervalued in the used market ever since because the Jaguar reliability narrative, built on the British Leyland disasters of the 1970s and completely inapplicable to a car, engineered under Ford's ownership with Ford's quality management processes, has proven more durable in American consumer consciousness than the actual evidence of XF ownership warrants. The engines that justify the narrative are the 4.2-liter V8 in its normally aspirated and supercharged forms. The 4.2 AJ V8 is an engine with genuine performance credentials. The supercharged version makes 420 horsepower and delivers it with a mechanical authority that makes the driving experience genuinely memorable, but with a maintenance relationship that used examples frequently arrive at without the required attention having been provided. The timing chain tensioners on the AJ V8 are the critical component. They are hydraulically operated and oil pressure dependent, which means extended oil change intervals do not just accelerate engine wear in the general sense. They specifically and directly compromise the component most responsible for keeping the valve train synchronized. When that synchronization is lost, the consequences are not gradual. They are immediate and expensive in a way that makes the purchase price of the car feel like a down payment on a much larger bill. Additionally, the 4.2's fuel economy in real-world American driving produces running costs that change the monthly ownership calculation substantially from what the purchase price implied. The engine that transforms the XF is the 3.0-liter V6 supercharged unit designated AJ126 in later first-generation examples and standard across the second generation. This engine represents a genuine engineering step forward from the V8 it effectively replaced in the volume market. The supercharger eliminates turbo lag while avoiding the heat management complications that turbocharged engines introduce at high mileage. The timing system is chain-driven with tensioners that were revised specifically to address the lessons learned from the V8 experience. The engine makes 340 horsepower and delivers it with a linearity and a smoothness that reflects the inherent character of a supercharged engine. Immediate throttle response, linear power delivery, and a mechanical temperament that does not punish brief inattentions to the service schedule with the same severity that the V8 applied to identical neglect. Fuel economy improves meaningfully over the V8 in real-world driving. Running costs normalize to a level that the purchase price can support. And the driving experience, while different in character from the V8, more refined, less theatrical, is entirely coherent with what an executive sedan buyer is actually looking for in daily use. Finding the right XF requires specific attention to the production timeline. Early 2008 and 2009 examples across all engine options have electrical architecture from the Ford ownership transition period that produces sensor and module issues more frequently than later examples. 2011 onward with the 3.0 supercharged V6 is the specification that independent XF specialists recommend without qualification. Check the service history for oil change intervals that stayed within Jaguar's specification. Verify the timing chain service status with a specialist before purchase. Test the air suspension thoroughly because the XF's air springs were at rates that depend heavily on how the previous owner treated the car's ride height settings and whether the compressor was allowed to work harder than its design intended. And establish the specialist relationship before you buy rather than after because the XF's electronics require Jaguar-specific diagnostic tools that a general shop may not carry and that a specialist will use to tell you more about the car in 20 minutes than a 3-hour test drive can reveal. The Jaguar XF with the 3.0 supercharged V6 is a $55,000 car that the used market prices between $5,000 and $8,000 because of a reliability reputation that does not apply to this engine in this specification. That gap between perception and reality is your opportunity. It requires research to exploit correctly. This video just gave you the research. Volkswagen Phaeton. And here it is. Number 3. The car that has quietly destroyed more enthusiast budgets, more optimistic used car purchases, and more relationships between owners and their bank accounts than any other European import in the American market over the last 2 decades. The Volkswagen Phaeton. And I need to tell you this story correctly because the Phaeton is not a simple cautionary tale. It is one of the most complicated and most genuinely fascinating automotive value propositions ever created, and the engine question at the center of it is so important that buying a Phaeton without understanding it is not just financially risky. It is financially reckless. First, the context. Ferdinand Piëch, Volkswagen's chairman at the turn of the millennium, decided that Volkswagen needed to prove something. Not to the market. Not to analysts. To engineers. He wanted to prove that Volkswagen's engineering capability could produce a car that competed with the Rolls-Royce Phantom and the Bentley Arnage, cars that Volkswagen Group also owned, on every objective quality and engineering measure, but sold under the Volkswagen badge at a price point that the market had never associated with that level of engineering. The result was the Phaeton. A car with an aluminum space frame. A car with 4-zone independent climate control that maintained temperature within half a degree of the selected setting in every seating position simultaneously. A car with air suspension that adjusted to road surface changes faster than the human nervous system could detect them. A car that was assembled in a factory in Dresden with wooden floors, white-gloved workers, and quality control tolerances that Rolls-Royce's manufacturing team would have recognized as serious. The car cost $65,000 to $100,000 new depending on specification. It depreciated to between $3,000 and $8,000 on the used market with a velocity that made financial analysts use it as a textbook example of badge-driven residual value destruction. The Volkswagen badge, regardless of what was underneath it, could not hold the value that the engineering content justified. Which is, depending on your perspective, either a market failure or a used car buying opportunity of historic proportions. Now, the engine conversation. Because the Phaeton was sold with 4 engine options and the difference between those options is the difference between a bargain and a budget catastrophe. The engines to avoid are the 4.2-liter V8 gasoline and the 6-liter W12 gasoline. The V8 is not a bad engine in isolation. In the Phaeton application, it is an engine in a very heavy car with very complex systems that all draw on the same maintenance discipline, and when that discipline was not provided, which used market examples frequently demonstrate, the V8's timing chain system, cooling system, and fuel system develop issues that compound in a vehicle of this complexity with consequences that compound in cost equally. The W12 is a magnificent engineering achievement and a maintenance proposition that belongs in a different conversation entirely. 12 cylinders. 2 banks of 6. A cooling system of corresponding complexity. A timing system of corresponding sophistication. 12 spark plugs that are not easily accessible. An engine that in a properly maintained, properly resourced ownership scenario is genuinely extraordinary and that in a used car purchase scenario with unknown service history is genuinely terrifying. Parts costs, labor costs, and the specialist knowledge required to work on a W12 Phaeton correctly exist in a financial category that the $5,000 purchase price does not prepare most buyers to inhabit. The engine that makes the Phaeton not just acceptable but genuinely remarkable as a used car purchase is the 3-liter V6 TDI diesel. And here is why this specific engine in this specific car is the sleeper bargain that nobody talks about clearly enough. The 3-liter TDI in the Phaeton is the same engine family used in the Audi A8, the Porsche Cayenne, and the Volkswagen Touareg. It is a timing chain diesel with a cast iron block and a turbocharger system that was designed for sustained high-load operation in heavy vehicles. The Phaeton's weight, over 5,000 pounds in most configurations, is actually compatible with diesel torque delivery in a way that gasoline engines have to work harder to replicate. The 3-liter TDI makes 235 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque, and it delivers that torque from very low in the rev range in a way that moves the Phaeton's considerable mass with an effortlessness that the V8 gasoline achieves through displacement and the diesel achieves through thermodynamic efficiency. Fuel economy improves by 30 to 40% over the V8 in real-world driving. The service intervals are longer by design. The maintenance costs are lower because the engine's mechanical architecture is shared with vehicles sold in high volume with dealer networks equipped to service them. Finding a TDI Phaeton in the American market requires patience because the diesel was sold in limited numbers here and the examples that exist are held by owners who understand what they have and price accordingly. Expect to spend between $6,000 and $9,000 for a clean TDI Phaeton with documented service history, which is $1,000 to $3,000 more than equivalent V8 examples. Pay the premium. It is not a premium for the badge or the specification. It is a premium for not having the V8 conversation with a Volkswagen specialist 6 months after purchase. What to inspect on the TDI Phaeton before buying. The air suspension is the component that requires the most honest evaluation. The Phaeton's air suspension is genuinely exceptional in operation and genuinely expensive in failure, and the compressor is the component that fails first when the system has been neglected. Listen to the compressor cycle when the car starts from cold. A healthy compressor is quiet and brief. A struggling compressor is audible and prolonged and is telling you something that you should hear clearly before you hand over the purchase price. The DSG gearbox on the TDI requires fluid service that Volkswagen dealers historically told owners was a lifetime fill. It is not a lifetime fill. It is a service interval that the gearbox enforces through eventual behavior changes that are unambiguous and expensive. Service it at purchase regardless of what the history shows. The fuel injectors on the 3-liter TDI have a documented service life that extends well past 200,000 miles with clean fuel and fresh filters. And the diesel particulate filter on later examples needs occasional regeneration that city driving alone cannot provide. Highway driving at sustained speeds clears it naturally and should be part of any ownership pattern. Here is the truth about the Volkswagen Phaeton TDI that the used car market has not priced correctly. You are buying a car that was engineered to a standard that Rolls-Royce and Bentley would recognize as serious. You are buying it for the price of a used Honda Accord. You are buying it with an engine that was designed for longevity and shared with vehicles whose maintenance networks are comprehensive and accessible. The badge says Volkswagen. The engineering says something considerably more expensive. And the price says that the market never figured out the difference. 3 cars. 3 engine decisions. The Giulia that rewards you for finding the 2019 2.0 and punishes you for buying the early version. The Jaguar that transforms from liability to opportunity the moment you find the 3.0 supercharged V6 and run from everything with a 4.2. And the Phaeton that is either a $5,000 lesson in why complex cars depreciate or a $6,000 Rolls-Royce experience depending entirely on whether the engine under the hood has 6 cylinders and runs on diesel. The engine is always the decision. Subscribe if this saved you from making the wrong one. Comment with which of these 3 you would actually buy with the right engine. Share this with the person in your life who is about to buy a Phaeton W12 because it was cheap. Stop them. Show them this. The cheap part is only the beginning of that particular story.